Good morning, family. I hope all is well. Welcome to HGW Community 72. I am Miss B, Bohemian Soul. Welcome to the channel if you are new here. And if you are not new here, you're a subscriber or you have visited before, I want to say thank you for tuning in again and welcome back. So this morning, I am going to talk about the difference of companionship and compatibility and how one won't sustain a marriage and how the other has to be in the marriage for it to be sustained. Companionship won't sustain a marriage. Compatibility will. So this is something that I recently spoke with and heard. There's a person that I follow who also great channel, great advice, great insight that they have. And they spoke to how compatibility needs to be in a relationship for it to be sustainable. But how I've spoken to having a companion and how important it is to be a companion. But I've learned that in a marriage, because I'm divorced, 14 years, divorced last year. And I always felt like as long as, you're my companion, we would be good. But it is the compatibility that will sustain a marriage. And obviously I did not, and so many don't have the compatibility in a relationship with their husbands, their wives, their significant other, because not everyone is going to get married but be in a sustaining or a long-term relationship. So companionship, what does it look like? So companionship in the beginning of the relationship, in the courtship, and I'm going to talk to it more being on the marriage aspect, or long-term relationship. So we look at companionship. Oh yes, this is the person for me. We're cool, like we get along. We have the same exact same goals, because that's where we get caught up. In the companionship aspect, we think we have to have the exact same goals, insight, beliefs, religion. We both want the same amount of children. We both may be in the same age. We are in the same Gen X generation. We are the same race. And let me just say, I personally, I love black men. So, but I understand that, love has no color, it has no boundaries, and everybody's not coming from where I am, but I love black men. So let me just put that out there. But we use the companionship like, they're black, I'm black. They're white, I'm white. They're Asian, I'm Asian. So that makes us, we have that companionship. So we'll do good together. I spoke to finances. But being companions, that will not sustain a marriage or a long-term relationship. It is very much a superficial foundation. The companionship is the things that you all talk about in the beginning, and it's the things that give you the goosebumps that, oh, I want to be with this person for the rest of my life. And that's what you're saying as a woman. Oh, girl, the way he smells and his cologne, and he wears the cologne that I like. And usually when you listen to the conversation that you're talking about pertaining to your future husband, I'm talking from the woman's angle point, we use the word like when we're talking about the companionship angle. We're not talking about the compatibility. We're talking about the companionship. And in the companionship phase, in the beginning phase, it is the conversations that you both have. And, oh, I just like him so much. And the things he says to me gives me goosebumps. And I love his broad shoulders. And I love the way he keeps his hair cut. And, oh, I love the fact that he has a dimple at his left cheek. Or I love that he is 5'10", he's not 6 feet. He's not too tall. He's not too short. I'm 5'3". That's the companionship part. That's the hook. That's the hook, right? Think about when you go fishing, right? You catch the fish with the hook. The companionship. But what is going to sustain the marriage? It's not the companionship. What's going to sustain the long-term relationship? And I've spoken to this. Yes, I will eventually get into a long-term relationship with another man, another marriage. Absolutely not. But I understand that now in my next relationship, there has to be compatibility, not companionship. Companionship won't sustain it. It's the compatibility. And this is something that, and this is the point where I was listening to this YouTuber, this person that I follow, and they really broke down, compatibility and how that is a sustaining factor. And I know from my having listened to this YouTuber, and they are someone, again, like I said, that I follow, I was really able to reflect on my 14-year marriage and understood that there was no compatibility. There's a lot of companionship going on, but we were so not compatible. And what does being compatible looks like? It looks like a lot of similarities, right? It looks like in the same age bracket. It looks like my strong areas support the areas where he's not so strong. His strong areas support my weak areas. Compatibility looks like me. I'm a very traditional woman. I am not a modern woman by any means. I'm of Gen X. I'll be 54 in January. The sun is coming up and it's beaming in my eyes. I'm going to turn the camera like this. It is, it's beaming, y'all. So let me get back on target. Compatibility is what will sustain you. Compatibility, again, will keep me in my position. It will keep him in his position, knowing that traditionally, I know that he is the stronger vessel. I am the weaker vessel. And I say that when you know your position as a woman in a relationship with a man, and he knows his position as a man in a relationship with you as a woman, there is compatibility. Because again, like I said, the areas where I'm weak, he's strong. So the leader, right? He's strong in that role. Protector, provider, and we're not talking about marriage, because like I said, I mean, and yes, these things obviously have to be in the marriage as well, but I'm just talking about long-term relationship as well, because everybody is not getting married again or getting married. Doesn't mean that they can't be in a successful relationship. But pertaining to the marriage, you have to be compatible with each other. You cannot go into a marriage today with a modern, I'm speaking for a woman, with this modern woman's mentality thinking, we're equal. You're not equal. You're not equal. You're a woman. And so you are the weaker vessel. And in knowing that, that's the compatibility. That's the sustaining ingredient. And when I say weaker vessel, I'm definitely coming from the natural makeup of a woman, and the stronger vessel being the man. And I'm talking from the natural makeup of a man. I'm not talking from this modern crap that so many people are moving in and living in. Compatibility means, okay, I'm better at managing the finances, right? I'm better at managing the finances. He, allows me to manage the finances, to pay the mortgage, to pay the rent, to make the phone calls that need to be made, to get our insurance rates lowered. I'm good at, I'm the weaker vessel. I'm good at that. That's that compatibility aspect. He is physically the stronger vessel. I'm talking compatibility, but he's also the leader, and he's the stronger vessel because genetically, that's just the makeup of the man. And in the compatibility and in being compatible, that mindset, you get it. And you're staying in your feminine, and you're not trying to step into a masculine role, because one, he's in his masculine role. So there's no need for you to do that. Y'all, this sun is booming. I'm gonna go like this. Does that make sense? I hope it does. So what is needed to sustain a marriage, which I did not have, nor did my ex-husband have in our marriage? We were not compatible. There was a lot of we were great companions, But that gets old and that runs its course. And so what do you have beyond, like I said, the hook, right, in the fish's mouth? Because you can hook a fish and they wiggle and they wiggle and they wiggle and they wiggle under that water, and that hook comes out and it's gone. That's companionship. The compatibility, you hook the fish and you tighten up on your line and you pull and it comes with you. And you tighten up on your line and you pull and that fish comes to you. It you know, it's a struggle. It's a struggle, but eventually you tighten up on your line. My father was a fisherman. You tighten up on your line. That's the compatibility. You tighten up on the line and you pull your fish in. You tighten up on the line, make it shorter and shorter, and you pull, and eventually, you know, you get your catch. You get to keep what you caught. It was the pulling and the tightening up on the line that kept the hook in its mouth, and that you were able to bring it home, so to speak, and to keep your catch. That's compatibility. That's what is needed to sustain a marriage or a long-term relationship. So I just wanted to speak to that, family. All right. That, again, that is something that I did not have in my marriage. And I would suggest that wherever you are in your relationship journey, that you both sit down and you have the conversation. Are we moving on the companionship, which is the superficial, which is the hook, which is the catching? And that's fine, because that's what's supposed to happen in the beginning. But understand, you need to move to being compatible with each other and having those conversations. You know, financially, are we moving in the same vein? Are we compatible? You know, our roles as the man in the relationship, the woman in the relationship, are we compatible with that? They don't have to be the exact same. And this is something that the YouTuber that I follow said. They don't have to be the same exact thing, but they have to be very, very similar. Compatibility will sustain your relationship, marriage. Family, remember, be great to yourself because you are great. Be great to your family. They deserve your greatness. Be great to your community. Without love, self-love first, you have absolutely nothing. And as always, clarity is key. But without consistency, we have no balance. Family, comparison is a great thing. Companionship, rather, is a great thing. But it's compatibility that's going to sustain your marriage. That's going to sustain your relationship. Be well.